Hey, what's up, guys? This is Two Nerd Sportscast. I'm Lee,
And I'm Joel.
and let's just jump right into this episode. So we are going to be recapping all for 32 first round picks. We are going to do a couple of honorable mentions first, though, just real quick. Uh, there were three teams that didn't have a first round pick. So we're going to talk about their first pick, whichever team it was. I believe it was the LA Rams, the Seahawks, and the Texans.
Texans.
Yeah. So let's start off with the Rams. So they picked Tutu Atwell.
That just seemed they were picking luxury when they needed help on their own line for their first pick.
Yeah,
It was just, and he wasn't even the best wide receiver on the board at the time. So
he really wasn't. He really was not. Like,
no, that's not a good pick. Just period.
no, I didn't really understand the Tutu Atwell either. Like, it felt very what's the word, lackluster, because like literally the Seahawks right before them, which good transition. Dwayne Eskridge is the guy that they picked for, like,
That's my boy.
yeah, like that was good job, Seahawks. Good job.
That was a good pick. That was an A.
No,
It's
well,
the top of the.
yeah. I mean, so if y'all see, I mean, y'all can see already. So I've got a Truz/Sus-O-meter. We're not really using it for these picks because this is just their first picks. And later on, we'll get more depth into them when we talk about each of the teams later on. Um, but basically, we're going to be not ranking things per se, but we're going to be saying, like, basically how much we trust it or how much it's sus to us. You got alpha truz, normal truz, and then you've got shrug emoji, so just, I mean, could go either way. Sus, and then omega sus. So that is the spectrum that we will be um, putting these on. I mean, Tutu Atwell, if I had to, I mean, I would say sus as of right now without doing too much research into it. Like, not Omega, but like still pretty. Wasn't that good. Dwayne Eskridge, definitely Truz. Definitely Truz. Um,
Yeah.
and I guess getting into. Sorry, I have to go to a different round because this team didn't even pick in the first two rounds. The Houston Texans. And
Oh
their
boy.
very first pick was Davis Mills.
Yeah, Lee was crying about this one. It's just like, why are the Texans so dysfunctional that this is what they decide to do? This
Because they also didn't call him.
No, they didn't even call him. It's,
He
that's
found out when it was announced. Just like Deshaun Watson kept finding out things through social media.
Mills should go ahead and demand a trade. Follow Watson too. No, no, no. I ain't doing this. You guys are gonna sink me before I get going. Send me
Just like I
elsewhere.
just want to get I don't want to play here. Oh, man. Okay, so yeah, and then I'm gonna say Omega Sus. I'm
Oh,
saying
easy.
Omega Sus all the way. Like, oh my god. I can't believe when you already don't have that many picks, your very first pick is going to be for a backup QB.
Or a third string QB if Watson's there next season. Technically,
I mean,
Taylor would be number two. So
yeah. But moving on to
it's
the actual first round of the draft because I don't want to think about this anymore. Um, we're already going to have to think about that a lot once we get to that division when we're recapping everything because we are going to go through each division and talk about everybody's offseason and kind of give it again on this, not a grade but on this
meter.
meter. And this is a work in progress, by the way. This is a prototype of it. Don't worry, it will get fancy. This is just what I did in a day. So, um, but moving on, let's get to pick number 1. The Jacksonville Jaguars picked Trevor Lawrence from Clemson, quarterback. I mean, he was he was the almost unanimous, like, going to go number 1, like it no
It's been
brainer.
undisputed for 2 seasons
Yeah.
that he was going to get this spot. It's been up there since he was in middle school. So this was destined to happen, and it's not only just destined to happen. It was a good thing that happened for the Jaguars. You should change the direction of the franchise, so that's very easily going to be Alpha Truz. Easily.
Um, so I'm only going to say Truz. So hear me out. Hear me out. I I'm still saying Truz because I believe that he will still have that fire and all of that, and I'm not going to question his competitiveness. What I am concerned about, because I did kind of going back, was kind of thinking about a lot of things, and I remembered Vince Young. Now, don't I'm not going to compare Vince Young to Trevor Lawrence. Don't get it twisted. But what I am going to compare is that neither of them had any kind of obstacles in their way. They won everything. They won literally everything. Like, Trevor has lost, but like, he hasn't lost.
Not lost,
You,
lost. Yeah.
yeah, like not like on a losing team like in the NFL. Like, the Jaguars are probably still going to be.
He is going to lose more games this year than he's lost in the rest of his football career combined.
Period. I think he's only lost like 3 games.
Two.
2.
Two.
Yeah, like, there's no way that the Jaguars go 15-2.
Not happening.
Like, so
They might get
that
two
that is
wins and have be on the opposite side. They're more likely to go 2-15 than the other way. So
exactly. So again, like, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, which is why I still have it on Trust. I'm just making a connection and just going, I really hope this doesn't happen. I love Trevor Lawrence. Like, I loved Vince Young. Like, I don't want that to happen by any means at all. But it could.
very well could.
Um but yeah, so I have him on just Trust.
That's fair. It's not. It's. I'm not as concerned about it personally, but
No, and
I
that's
get the concern. So that's fair enough. But moving on to Zach Wilson. Uh, that also for me is going to get an Alpha Truz. I love Zach Wilson. Love his mentality. He should help out New York immediately. He could be the next Joe Namath up there. Jets needed to go with the quarterback, especially since they decided to deal Darnold. If I was grading this based on them dealing Darnold and then choosing to pick Wilson, maybe I wouldn't grade it so highly because I am a fan of Darnold. But
no,
with
I
Darnold out of the
like Darnold as
picture,
well.
you have to go Wilson here. You don't have a choice in the matter.
No,
Excellent player.
100%. I think Zach Wilson is going to be phenomenal. Um, now, I'm also just going to say Truz, and again, this time it's not on the player. It's the Jets. Like, it's the Jets. They had a fantastic draft. Please turn it around, New York Jets. I would love to see Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh succeed. That would be amazing. But you haven't been majorly successful in 50 years.
They were this optimistic when they picked Darnold and didn't turn out. They've been this optimistic about 100 times since Joe Namath. So
Now, granted, I know I already know the argument that might happen. Jets fans saying, "Oh, well, they've won more playoff games than the Cowboys since the Cowboys last won a Super Bowl." Okay, sure, yeah, whatever. You won more playoff games than the Cowboys. That's not saying much because the Cowboys also haven't been able to get their stuff together for the last 25 years.
Yeah, but we've been to get we had Super Bowl victories at least before that. The Jets have uno,
No, no,
one.
yeah.
So get out of here
So,
with that
so,
crap.
so, I'm just putting on trust just because of I need to see more from the Jets for me to be that all in on it. I'm all in on Zach Wilson, but it's the team that kind of brings me back a little bit. And so I'm just gonna say trust, but I do have high hopes, definitely. But moving on to pick 3, the San Francisco 49ers, picking Trey Lance from North Dakota. Um, so they spent what, 2 firsts and a third to get up here from 12.
And assorted other late rounders.
Yeah, but like the major things are the 2 firsts and a third. And then swapping for, I mean, they didn't just get the number 3 pick with 2 firsts. They had to swap their pick this year. So that is, you know, um, and I don't really like this for anybody. I don't like that trade. Period. I like Trey Lance enough, and I think that Trey Lance can be amazing in Kyle Shanahan's offense. And I do think that this, minus my actual favorite QB in this draft, this was probably the best option for them at this point. And I get it, like I get the argument of him over Fields because of the West Coast offense and all of that stuff. I get it. I get it. I still like Fields a lot more than Lance because I think there's a lot more things with Lance's game that needs to get tweaked than Fields to be a starter. And I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that, oh, well, you've got Jimmy G. You've got Jimmy G. Yeah, no, you do. He gets injured almost every single season.
Almost every game.
Like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but like, your Trey Lance is probably going to have to see the field before he's ready. And also, if because I saw a report that apparently Kyle Shanahan might be just planning on using him as a gadget player. You spent 2 firsts and a third on a gadget player?
And you're risking your future of the franchise as a gadget player. That's real wise.
Like I
You're gonna go
hope
ahead
I
and risk his legs.
I hope that they don't do that because I think that may not be good for Trey Lance's development. It's fun to think about. Don't get me wrong. It would probably work. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna work because Trey Lance is extremely athletic, but it's going to stunt his development, and on top of that, more likely to get injured, especially with the way he runs, being such a power trucking runner. And I'm sorry, he's not going to truck over J.J. Watt. He's not going to truck over Aaron Donald. He's not even going to truck over Zaven Collins and oh my god, forgetting names. The Seahawks linebacker.
Oh, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, like he's not going to truck over those dudes. And there's more linebackers and more D linemen on all 3 of those teams, which they each face twice a year, that he's not going to be able to truck over. Like,
Any NFL linebacker worth his salt, he's not going to be able to run right over. So there's a large difference from playing at North Dakota State to the NFL.
and I do have faith that he can learn how to, and Kyle Shanahan will probably teach him how to. I just, I mean, like we saw this year with Patrick Mahomes, he kind of reverted back in that play in that Super Bowl. He reverted his progression, and these young QBs, they revert back to what is comfortable to them.
It's instinctual.
Exactly. So for all of that, I have hopes, but I've got susses. So I am a shrug emoji. I don't. I hope for the best. I think I do honestly think that it's going to be really good. But there's just those things that I can't overlook.
Fair enough. I am not as optimistic on this one. So we're reversing roles here. I'm tempted to put it all the way down to Omega Sus. I'm this tempted just because of how much they gave up for a guy that may or may not even be the third best quarterback in the draft. I can't
It's
I can't forgive them for that. It has
it,
to be at least Sus for me, if not Omega. It's
no. I
right
mean
on the border.
it is so much to give up. It is so much to give up.
And if it doesn't work out, their franchise is screwed. Shanahan's fired, Lynch is fired, everybody's gone. It's everybody's going to be worse for the wear, and they're going to waste the careers of George Kittle and Bosa and all those dudes, just like that, blink of an eye. And you'll look back and go, "What could have been?" And they'll just be one of those franchises. This is one of those kind of moves, and that's where it's headed. I feel like that's far more likely than him actually panning out and leading them somewhere.
That's fair. Um,
But moving on into Kyle Pitts with the Atlanta Falcons, fourth overall pick. I love Kyle Pitts. It's a great pick. So it's Truz for me. Can't be Alpha Truz because the Falcons have a bazillion other needs that they could have gone. Was Kyle Pitts the absolute best player available here? Yes. Yes, he was. But was it the best pick for them? I just, I don't know. Is their offense going to be fun to watch next year? Yeah, sure it will. Will their defense still allow 40 points a game? Probably. So it can't. If they manage to replace Matt Ryan next year, they had the opportunity to get Justin Fields here, or even Mac Jones if that's what they wanted to do, and replace Matt Ryan and seamlessly transition in the next era, and they just gave it up. Because next year they probably won't be as bad as this past season, meaning that they're not going to be picking inside the top 5, meaning they won't have a chance at a top QB prospect. So you can have a couple more years, twilight out the Falcons era, and then they could tank real hard, and then you'll have equivalent of the next Calvin Johnson with the Falcons. He'll just be a stellar, amazing player on a garbage team with no hope of ever accomplishing anything. So hope they don't waste him, but it seems likely.
yeah. I basically have the exact same sentiment as Joel here. I love Kyle Pitts. Don't get it twisted. Don't get me wrong. Kyle Pitts is amazing. And this same sentiment is actually going to be used a lot throughout this draft. By the way, fantastic, great player. Wrong team. Um, the Falcons should have traded back, getting the hell out of the fourth spot, and just beefed up that defense or beefed up that O line. That's what they should have done because they are in a rebuild. They are looking to ship Julio. They should have been looking to ship Matt Ryan. Like they should have traded him in this draft. They could have traded him for 2 firsts to Denver, gotten freaking Justin Fields at 4, and maybe still would have gotten Kyle Pitts at 9.
Entirely possible.
Like, or if you don't get Kyle Pitts at 9, you get J.C. Horn. If you don't get J.C. Horn, you get Penei Sewell. Like,
or even if you have to reach, you go Rashaan Slater. Is that a bad
yeah,
thing? No.
no. Especially not when you just picked up 2 firsts from the Matt Ryan trade.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, like, so for that, again, I have to give another shrug emoji. I don't, I love the player, but, like, godly Falcons. Like, yes, you're going to have an explosive offense for a year, but what happens in 2 years when that explosive offense has to break up? And it's already starting to break up because Julio is going to be leaving.
And Matt Ryan will be out the door not long afterwards. They don't have
No,
a running back.
I think he only has
They
2 years on his contract, right?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. And when you get to that age as a quarterback, you're one injury away from retirement. You're one injury away from retirement. So, and then it'll be Ridley and Pitts just standing there all lonely with nobody to throw to them, and that doesn't amount to much.
No, it really doesn't. But moving on to one that I am actually kind of positive about with Jamar Chase. So hear me out. Hear me out. They need to get offensive line, 100%, and they did that in the second round. Now, did they get the best one available? That's very very debatable. Yes, 100%. Um, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this pick. I like it just because of the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow connection. Would I have loved Penei Sewell here more? Yes. Yes, I would have. But Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow do have a connection. Like, they do have, like, an otherworldly connection. Go watch their LSU tape. It is, whoo-wee, it is something to watch. They just understand each other on another level. And it's so cool to see with two young players. So, like, I get it. I get it. So, which is why I'm just going to say Truz? I'm
Okay.
like between shrug and truz on this one. Just because like I like it, but they do have to fix that O line, or else Joe Burrow's going to get really hurt, especially in the AFC North, especially with what the Browns and Ravens just did. Like,
He about to die. And that is why, for
like
me, this pick is shrugged to sus. It's over. You. Why was this pick not Penei Sewell? Why was this pick not Sewell? Why? I don't. The logic is I get the connection, but it's not going to matter when Joe Burrow's career is over next season. It's not going to matter when he has a second major knee injury and is just done. Who knows if he ever returns from this one perfectly? It
yeah,
You
no,
can't do that to your dude. There,
you can't.
Burrow was another. They throw out the term generational too much, but he was very close to that generational
Yes.
tier. Not the Trevor Lawrence, Peyton Manning. He was the second step, and they're just going to throw away his potential because they can't manage to protect him when they had the opportunity to. If there's no O lineman here, pick Jamar Chase. Don't look back. Deal with it later. Sewell was there, and you didn't pick him. When Burrow gets hurt next year, that GM just needs to get fired on the spot. To me, you can't not pick Sewell there. If Burrow's career is over, he needs to go to Joe Burrow and beg on his knees for forgiveness because he's the reason why that happened. So that's why it trends towards sus for me. It's
No,
nothing
yeah.
against
So,
Jamar Chase. Love Jamar Chase. Thinks he's a great player, but it's just not it.
so are you saying sus?
I've
Yeah.
decided it's sus. I
No.
moved from shrug on down into sus.
And that's totally fair. That's totally fair. I get it. But continuing on. Excuse me.
Into yeah, Jalen Waddle. So with Jalen Waddle, if you guys watched our wide receiver video, I'm not particularly high on Jalen Waddle. I don't think he's that great. He has a ridiculous amount of potential, but he looks like Henry Ruggs to me. So because I don't like the player, I'm gonna put it in sus. Also, I don't think this was the wisest move for the Dolphins. Sewell was on the board again. Why did you not pick Sewell? You've got an injury-prone quarterback back there too with Tua, who might die next year. Is your line as bad as the Bengals? No. Will Tua maybe be fine? Sure, there's a better chance. But you passed up on Sewell for a wide receiver that is debatable whether he was even the best wide receiver on his college team. How? Where? That pick genuinely made me mad during the draft. Genuinely made me mad.
No, I'm going to give the same sentiment here. I am actually going. I'll just say it right now. I sus, definitely sus, because yeah, there's definitely a debate on who was legitimately the next best wide receiver after Jamar Chase. I've seen a lot of people have Devonta Smith still at number 2. I've even seen some of these wide receivers that went late in the first or early second be number 2, number 3, like Kadarius Toney, like Rashad Bateman, like Elijah Moore, like so yeah, like it. Terrace Marshall, sorry. Um, uh, I mean, I know Terrace Marshall had injuries, but moving on. So like I am going to say sus because it's just like one, you had a chance of getting the best offensive tackle in this draft, period, be able to utterly and completely replace Laramie Tunsil, period. Like,
With a better
better,
player.
yeah, like, they would have come out only on top. And now it's just kind of like, not saying that the Texans have any shot of coming out on top in that
No.
uh, trade, but
But
it's looking
personally,
like the Dolphins aren't getting all the value that they could. Is what I'm going to say. So that's why it's sus to me. I think Jalen Waddle can ball. Like, don't get me wrong. I think he can really ball. But was he the second best wide receiver? And should he even picked 6?
and even if he
That's
was the second best receiver, those other guys were not a significant step below. They had another first round pick and a pick at the top of the second round. They could have had Kadarius Toney later because he hadn't gone off the board yet. So, and if they did that, A plus, because sure they needed a wide receiver, but this this was not the place
yeah.
to do it.
But moving on to where Penei Sewell finally got picked in the Detroit Lions, and I will say right now for you Lions fans, I'm gonna say Alcatraz because the Lions killed this draft, murdered it. I know they're another organization like the Jets where we have to see it before like we know for sure that they're legitimate contenders now. But oh boy, did they come swinging in their first year with a new front office and a new coach. Penei Sewell, Alcatraz, best offensive lineman that they could have had. They're going to have their left tackle for the next 10 to 15 years, barring any major injuries. Done. Bedrock of the offensive line, like I said, for the next 10, 15 years. Easy.
Probably he's going to be their next quarterback's best friend because it's not going to be Jared Goff because we all know that's not going to work out in all likelihood.
Yeah, for
This is
long
how
term.
good teams end up rebuilding. You build everything else first, then you plop the quarterback right in the middle. And this is where they're headed with this beautiful draft. This is also an Alcatraz for me. Easy, easy. I mean, it's the top 3 players in this draft were Lawrence, Sewell, and Pitts in some order, however you want to order them. And they managed to get one of the top 3 players at number 7. You don't normally see that. They didn't even have to move anywhere to snag him. He just fell into their laps. I don't know how you get that lucky. But moving on into J.C. Horn at 8. Um, I love J.C. Horn. Not sure this was the right move for the Panthers. They probably could have moved out and gotten a ton of value for this pick, and maybe still gotten J.C. Horn. Is J.C. Horn the right corner for them over Patrick Surtain? Yeah, probably. But they could have moved back a few picks because I know the Eagles were calling, and they were trying to move up for a wide receiver, which they ended up succeeding. But there was a few other teams trying to move up for a quarterback. Why they didn't take one of those offers is beyond me. They could have used the value, and corner was a need, but not a big need. So it's still trust for me. Just it's trending towards the shrug just because of the value ratio here. But if that's what you want to do, it's what you want to do. So, and he's going to be a good player for him.
So I'm going to say I'm going to be smack dab right in the truz. Not edging towards anything. I love J.C. Horn. He was my personal cornerback 1 in this draft. I think he was just marginally better than Patrick, or has marginally higher ceiling than Patrick Surtain, and has relatively similar starting capabilities as Patrick Surtain. Um, and also because J.C. Horn is more of a guy that you build your defense around, and that is something the Panthers can do now, is build it around Horn. I mean, I know they still have some playmakers on that defense, but I mean, to have J.C. Horn really emerge as that leader, I mean, I can see it now. J.C. Horn has that leadership capability and that fieriness in him. So I absolutely loved this pick. It came out of left field to me because I thought they were going to go O-line 100%. But man, they swing for the fences, and I mean, I don't know if they hit a home run, but they at least
Bounced
got to
off the
third
chain link.
base. Huh?
Bounced off the chain link.
Yeah. Like like they at least got to third base. Like this was a phenomenal pick by them. I think it was great. There were, I mean, I will say Truz as well because I mean, yeah, they probably could have moved back and still gotten Horn or Certain or maybe even Greg Newsome or whatever, and gotten a lot of value for this pick. But I understand staying put. I understand staying put and getting your guy, which is why I'm gonna say I'm just solidly in Truz. Now on to the Broncos. So remember how I said earlier that there was a theme that was going to repeat in this draft. And I'm not saying this just because my friend is a Cowboys fan. I'm not just saying that. There's no reason for them to have picked Patrick Surtain. There's absolutely no reason for them to have picked Patrick Surtain the second. Okay? They already spent so much on corner during this offseason. They paid one of their corners and they got another corner for a lot. I don't remember the exact numbers and everything, but they got two dudes and they paid them a lot of money and they already had decent depth at that position. Not amazing, but later on in the draft they got another corner.
No, they had some good developmental talent at corner. Michael Ojemudia is just going to get wasted now, and that upsets me because he has a ridiculously high ceiling too. He could have been a starting corner, and now who knows if he even makes the roster. So
no, yeah. So like for me, like and when your most glaring need is quarterback, and Justin Fields is sitting right there. I get the epilepsy thing is worse in higher altitudes, but he's literally taking medication. What, like maybe figure out like over these next couple of months exactly what medication he needs to take
they've got
for
4
a higher
months to figure it
altitude.
out. 4 months to figure it out.
Like with the resources that they have, they could figure that out in like a week.
If that.
Like,
Oh my God.
Justin
Or they
Fields
could have
was
even gone
sitting
Mac
there.
Jones. They could have even gone Mac Jones, despite me hating him. Mac Jones fits right into their stereotype for the Broncos QB, and they still passed on him.
I mean
You're just
that
gonna run
that
it
is
back
also
with
fair.
Drew Lock? Come on, really? Your team is
No, yeah,
perfect,
yeah.
and you do
And
this.
now the Broncos are just praying for Aaron Rodgers to be traded to them. Like that, like if you got Justin Fields, you wouldn't even have to pray for that because you would have Justin Fields.
And you're gonna have to overpay for Aaron Rodgers. You're probably gonna have to send your next 2 firsts, and then he's gonna retire on you in 3 years or less,
Yeah,
and then
and Justin Fields was just sitting there at 9.
and you could add your quarterback for the next 20 years. Why?
So I'm going to say sus. Just because I get Patrick Surtain is a phenomenal player. That is the only reason why it's not Omega sus. Because they had literally no reason to pick this guy.
Oh, I'm putting it all the way in Omega sus. They almost
I'm sure you are.
he might just be their 4th string corner next year and mix in at safety, depending on how the depth chart shakes out. You can't do that at pick number 9. When you're picking in the top 10, you're picking a guy that is either going, if he's a quarterback, he's going to be starting for you soon, or if it's another position, he's going to start right away and be one of the stars on your team. Period. and you can't. I'm so upset. So upset. But we'll move on to the next pick. So it was Dallas. My guys, I was so upset to see J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain not there. So I was like, okay, guys, trade back, trade back, trade back. And they traded back, and it says, trade is, the pick has been traded. I was like, ooh, how far are we moving back? We only moved back with the Eagles. Okay. We'll trade with the Eagles. I'm fine with it. Move back a couple picks. And then I was hoping, okay, Rashaan Slater. But we'll get into that a little bit. So the Eagles pick. They move up. They only give up a third to grab the wide receiver that they wanted, that the Giants were intending to take. So ultimately, with all of the picks that they've managed to accumulate in recent time, not a huge value that they had to give up for this. I mean, it's a little steep to only leapfrog one team. But
that one team is the team in your division, and you don't want them to have this pretty toy. You want the pretty toy.
yeah, especially when they were going to pick Devonta Smith. So, as far as the fit for Devonta Smith with the Eagles, pairing him with Jalen Hurts, super lit. It's going in trust for me because it has the potential to be amazing. Whether Devonta Smith plays more than 3 games in his career because his leg snaps, I don't know. I don't. And it's starting to trend up towards a shrug just because I'm afraid of what's going to happen over there because he's immediately going to have to be wide receiver 1. And they have done this year after year after year, picking the wrong wide receiver. So I think Devonta Smith might be the right receiver, but with the Eagles' track record, who knows?
Yeah. So another one that I'm personally going to be solidly in trust in. I'm going to be solidly in the trust
There you go.
section. While he is veering towards shrug, I am in trust because I mean, yes, the size is an issue. It is something to think about. But Devont, he's so good. He is so good. And with Jalen Hurts, like just like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, they have a connection. Like they have a strong connection, and I think they're going to utilize it. And I think it's going to be dangerous. Now, again, like, does he play more than a couple of games? I really hope so. I mean, I know he probably doesn't hope so, but I mean, I don't
Hey,
have any hate or ill will towards the Eagles. I actually used to like the Eagles, so you know what? It was cool. It's nice to see that they might be. Now I know this doesn't 100% say this, but they might be saying that they're all in on the Jalen Hurts because of that connection. They might be all in on it. And I think that'd be really good for Eagles fans because I think Jalen Hurts can really ball. Like, I
no,
think it's
he's
phenomenal.
yeah. But even if this connection lights up, though, the rest of their team isn't there. They don't
Oh,
have
no.
the pieces elsewhere. They might have been better served not picking a skill position toy. So that's the other reason I'm a little bit of sus of this one.
No, and that's fair. And that's fair. I think they did decently enough throughout the rest of the draft, but again, we'll talk about that when we talk about all the teams. Um, but we moving on to the number 11 pick. I was going to do this. The number 11 pick was the New York Giants, but seeing their guy taken, they're all like, well, we've got eyes on a couple other dudes. We could probably get them pretty far back. Let's try and get a haul for this pick. And the Bears were all like, yeah, we've been trying to trade up this entire time. We've called literally everybody in front of you too. We called the boys.
We've been doing this for months.
um, but so they swapped picks and they got a wait.
The Giants got
Okay, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Bears
So
first
so
next
the
year.
Bears gave up a fifth and a first next year and a fourth next year. So a fifth this year and a first and a fourth next year.
Yeah, 3 picks. That's not that horrible to get your QB of the future. It's not nearly as steep as what the 49ers paid for a quarterback of lesser quality than Justin Fields.
And let me get into Justin Fields. Oh, The more I look at this guy's tape, the more I almost want to put him up there with Trevor Lawrence, like as like no, but like no, like but for real though, like I'm not being overly dramatic. Justin Fields is amazing. He is definitely my number 2 QB. And I think he might even be on another league of his own with Trevor Lawrence above the rest of these prospects for QB. There are some great
There's
prospects.
the words.
I'm sorry. I'm a little too excited about Justin Fields. I
Clearly.
so he can read defenses. His 2 worst games was not because he couldn't read the defenses, okay? It was because he tries to save literally every play. He has the athleticism and the smarts to save every play, but he cannot save every play. It's not possible.
It's
You have to
humanly
throw some
impossible.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to throw some away. But you want to know who had the exact same issue? Deshaun Watson. And I would argue that the coaching staff of the Bears is better than what Deshaun Watson walked into.
And that's true. I don't think we
And
even have to argue that one. I think that's true.
yeah,
We've
right?
we've
Like
seen that
it
pretty
is,
quickly.
right? Like the coaching staff, top to bottom, I'm not just talking about head coach, I'm talking top to bottom, is better than the Texans top to bottom in what, 2017?
Easy. Easy.
Like there he is going to be able to develop better than Watson could because he's going to have better people around him. He's going to have this entire city of Chicago around him, literally praying for him to start. Deshaun Watson came in and people didn't want him.
Justin Fields is being worshipped already.
Yeah,
So
like he is going to have every chance to develop. Now, I get it that, like, oh, well, he isn't going to go through adversity. He's already gone through damn enough in adversity, okay? This man has had way too much stuff put on him, and I think it is quite literally obscene how much flack this guy has gotten for pretty much nothing. I am putting this on Alcatraz. I love Justin Fields. I love the spot of Chicago. I think this gives Matt Nagy the best chance to succeed, and I think that this really shows you whether Matt Nagy can do it or not. Because if he can't do it with Fields, he can't do it with anybody. Get him out of there. Get Pace out of there. Bring in some new people that will develop Fields, and let's get this rolling.
I am also an Alcatraz with this one. I may not love Fields as much as Lee, but this is the best value that you could possibly get at this spot for the Bears. And like they needed a QB. They signed Dalton. The entire fan base, the entire nation is disappointed in that move. And they were like, how do we fix that? And they landed possibly the second best QB in this draft, but definitely third. You I don't know how you don't give this an Alcatraz grade. And they didn't even give up that much. One first, all the
And
other
two
ones,
late rounders. And two late rounders that are
whatever.
basically irrelevant.
They gave up basically next year's first to move up for this guy. With how good their team is, they were not even going to be in a position to be able to move up to get the third best QB next year. It's not going to happen. This is a
Unless if
once,
another free fall happens.
but that may be a legitimate one. This one was an illegitimate free fall. So how can you pass? This is a once in 20, 30 year chance to grab a guy like this that he's within our reach now. Before the price is too steep, we can't be giving up 2 or 3 firsts. Okay. Bam, they pulled it off. Absolutely wonderful for the Bears. Absolutely wonderful player. Great scheme fit. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
But moving on to my team, the Cowboys pick, moving back with the Eagles. So I get here and I'm not happy with what's on the board other than Rashaan Slater. So I'm on the phone and I'm like, okay, so what I need them to do is I need them to either trade back again, as unlikely as that is, or pick Slater. please, for the love of God, do not let it be Micah Parsons. Please, for the love of God. And I've been saying that for months. Lee has thrown it at me as a joke multiple times. What if the Cowboys pick Micah Parsons before the draft? And I'm like, it won't happen. And if it does, I'll probably kill myself, is what I said. I'm still here, so that was big talk. But wow, I am not a fan of this pick. I was tempted to throw it all the way into Omega Sus. I've backed away from the ledge. I've looked at it more objectively. I get it. Micah Parsons could be a special player. I was really sus of him in the linebacker video if you want to go back and watch what I said about him, because I broke it down more intensely. I'm not going to do that right now. But boy, I don't want a person at linebacker whose football IQ is less than mine. I do not want that. And his off the field issues. Does Dallas really need another potential locker room cancer? No, we do not. That is the answer. So this isn't sus for me. Can he be amazing? Can he up our linebacker core's quality? Sure. The potential of him, Leighton Vander Esch, Jabril Cox, and Jalen Smith, that could be the best linebacker core in the league. He could win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and I will still be sus of the pick because of the potential in 2 or 3 years for him to just blow up the locker room. It doesn't. I mean, we had a special guy like this a long time ago with Hollywood Henderson, if any of you know who that is. And if you don't, go look up his story. This could be the next Hollywood Henderson for Dallas. Truly special athlete, truly special player that just blows up. So maybe he's changed. I liked how he was with his son. I didn't know he was a dad like that. That can change a guy. So that made me raise my opinion of him slightly. But then I read more into the stuff that he did off the field, and then I was more sus of it. So I'm almost the same position with him.
Yeah, like so they're we're not gonna get too much into it because it is kind of graphic. Just go if you are curious, go look up Micah Parsons off the field issues. Go look up how he was in the college before he was at Penn State. I forgot what college it was. Do you remember what college, Joel?
He was at Penn State when it happened.
Oh, I thought he was at a different college and he got kicked
No,
out
no,
of
no,
that one.
no. He transferred.
Oh,
He transferred from Penn State after these issues, and that's kind of why he had to opt out last year. He just used the guise of COVID.
okay.
So he's freshly removed from these incidents.
Yeah, yeah. So go look it up if you want to. It is some sketchy stuff.
Graphic.
So but I have faith because I did watch his presser. He seems like a stand-up guy now. He seems like he's trying to get his life back together. At least again, that's what it seems like. All of this is speculation. We could be 100% wrong about every single one of these picks, and it all blow up in our face in about 3 to 5 years. Okay, and we will both be the first ones to admit it when we're wrong. We will both say, all right, yep, that was on me, Chief. I got that one completely wrong. I have faith. I have faith that he won't be a cancer. I have faith that he'll be really good. But I don't know if he will ever be one of those fantastic greats worthy of taken at number 12 overall.
Over a guy that in Rashaan Slater who goes with the next pick, who I think will likely be a Hall of Fame potential. I don't see that with Parsons, even if he peaks. Maybe I'm wrong, and he could be Ray Lewis. I've seen that as a comparison for him, both personality wise and otherwise. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I do not. I don't think there's a very high chance of it, but it's there. You gotta
but like
it.
you're saying, moving on to Rashaan Slater. I mean, Chargers. How are you doing this? How are you swindling people? Okay, how are you like? You got Justin Herbert last year
At a
because
steal.
people overlooked him, and now you get Rashaan Slater this year because people overlooked him.
2 years in a row.
So, I will state this: Rashaan Slater becomes a superstar at guard, not tackle.
Okay.
He is a very good tackle, but he is a superstar guard. Superstar. put this man at right or left guard, and you're off to the races because you fixed your center, you've got your guard, and I don't remember who else is on that O line, but I'm pretty
It's
sure,
not shabby. It's
yeah,
not a
like
shabby O line.
it's pretty good. And I think they got some more O line from this draft. Again, I don't, this is off the top of my head, but, and again, we will be talking about more when we get into each of the teams. But I like this. I'm going to say Truz. I'm going to say Truz. Like, it was very good. They got somebody who people were overlooking. Got some more strength in that O-line to protect that future franchise QB in Justin Herbert. Like, you, it was good. It was, I don't have anything else to say about it. It was good.
They did what the Bengals should have. They protected their main man. You can't go wrong. You nailed your quarterback pick. You probably have a guy that can be a top 5 QB for the next 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even bring a Super Bowl home to the Chargers. It's possible. And you need to protect him and make his career longer. This is how you do that. You pick a truly special offensive lineman who's Rashaan Slater could be an All-Pro next year for all we know. If he's not, he's going to be on the All-Rookie team. He's going to go to the Pro Bowl. He's going to be good. There is no way that he's not going to be good. So this on a team, they have other needs, obviously, maybe stronger than offensive guard, but you can't go wrong with protecting your dude. You can't. He could be the next Quentin Nelson, just completely change the attitude of an offensive line, like Zach Martin was for Dallas. Dallas had some other offensive line pieces, like the Chargers did. And he just comes in there, final piece, plop, your line's fixed. Now you have one of the best O-lines in the league. Justin Herbert will no longer have to fear for his life. He will stand back there and he will sling the ball. They have some decent weapons. It's going to be fun to watch the Chargers make some noise next season.
100%. Yeah. Totally agree. But wait, where did you put it, though?
Oh, it's all the way in alpha for me.
Oh,
Easy.
okay.
Easy.
Okay.
This was easily one of my favorite picks of the whole draft. Easily.
I mean, that's entirely fair. But
moving on into Elijah Vera Tucker, with the Jets moving up to snag him with the Vikings. I also loved this pick. This one is Truz, though, because it's a little expensive when they maybe could have been looking at an offensive lineman close to the same, if not Elijah Vera Tucker, where they already were. However, if this guy is at the top of your board, you have the amount of picks that the Jets do, it makes sense. Get the guy to protect the Bengals should have done this too. The Jets understand they've got to protect their new man back there with Zach Wilson. So with Elijah Vera Tucker and Mekhi Becton on that offensive line, their offensive line is also essentially fixed. You can't really go wrong. He can play anything. He can be an offensive guard. He could be an offensive tackle. Heck, I'm pretty sure he could be a center if that's what they needed to do. So this perfect pick. It's Truz trending towards alpha, but not an alpha just because of the value given up.
yeah. I'm gonna say Truz because for almost all the exact same reasons that you just said. The Jets, I don't really have much of a problem with them moving up, getting their guy because they just have so many picks. I think they have like they had over 20 picks between this year and next year. Like,
and they had a crap ton last year. At some point, you're going to run out of roster spots for all these draft picks, and you need to start funneling them to move up for special guys. And that's
and AVT is definitely one of those special dudes. He is a very versatile, and he is very, very, very good. I get they gave up a lot, but I'm pretty sure they had to because I'm almost certain that the Vikings were eyeing AVT as well.
So they had to do something to trade up with the Vikings.
Yeah, and it was good. I like it. Truz. Moving on to the Patriots with Mac Jones. I am no longer scared of them. If you all saw my mock draft, you would know that I thought they were going to be the ones moving up to get Justin Fields. Well, that didn't happen. And all right, cool. Patriots are settling for probably being the third best team in the AFC East, maybe even worst team in about 2 years. Cool.
Mac Jones is not going to fix their issues. He's the complete opposite of what they were building with Cam Newton. The opposite end of the spectrum. You can't get further opposite of Cam Newton than with Mac Jones.
It's a completely different game. He doesn't just. I mean, yes, he plugs right into the Tom Brady offense.
But that's not
But
what
they
they
don't
have.
have
That's
the
not the
Tom Brady
pieces that
offense
they just
anymore.
signed.
They just spent so much money to make it an offense geared around a mobile quarterback in Cam Newton. Now, I get people are going to say, well, Mac Jones is mobile. He's mobile in the pocket, but not a mobile quarterback.
And the
There is a
mobileness in the pocket is debatable to me, even because that's at college. It's easy to do that in college, frankly.
Especially
It's
with the
not going to be
talent he had
so
around
easy.
him.
Yeah, at Bama, it's not going to be so easy at the next level. He's not going to just be able to shrug off a NFL D lineman's arm. He's not that athletic. If an NFL D lineman gets fistful of his jersey, down goes Mac Jones. Period.
Yeah, so I did shrug because, yeah, okay, yeah, Bill Belichick is probably going to bring out the best out of Mac Jones, but, like, what is that?
Yeah, what is the best out of Mac Jones? It could be nothing. There might be nothing in that well. This just felt like, oh, we kind of need a QB. There's a QB on the board. We'll do this. Maybe they should have moved up for Fields, frankly.
That would have been
This is in
insane.
sus for me. It's
I mean, that's
trending
fair.
towards Omega sus even because I'm that low on Mac Jones. You're a little bit higher on him than me, and that's fine. But it's yeah, I don't see a way this goes well. Luckily, they didn't move up for him. If they had moved up for him, I would be burning them at the stake for that move. So at least they didn't give up anything. If this goes wrong, back to the drawing board next year or the year after.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of harm done. But
No, 100%. Yeah.
moving on into Zaven Collins. I like this pick. Was it the best possible thing for the Cardinals to do? Maybe not. They had other needs. Their linebacking core, their front seven is pretty good. But he elevates that front seven into the next category.
Tier.
Exactly. They're going to have a chance to have one of the best front sevens we've ever seen assembled. With Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, two of the best pass rushers of our generation, if not of all time. And then just adding him into that front with and they drafted Isaiah Simmons last year, who has the potential to be one of those truly special players as well. Zaven Collins, people debated whether he was the best linebacker in this class over Micah Parsons or JOK. He was a lot of people's number one. He was up there. He was close to number one for me. This excellent pick, maybe not the biggest need, so it's only in Truz, but you can't go wrong picking a guy of this caliber at this spot. At 16, you don't normally walk into something that's going to plug and play so easily.
100%. I'm going to say Truz as well because Zaven Collins is a beast. He is a monster. And on the phone call with the GM, I don't remember the GM, I think. Oh my God. Keim. Yeah. On the phone call with Keim, Zaven Collins literally said, "We are going to effing kill people."
The mentality is there. I can't wait to see it with what.
I'm sorry, Trey Lance, but you've got to face this front seven twice a year.
Tap out, demand a trade while you still can. That's the hot move for quarterbacks right now. Demand a trade now. Go ahead, get the heck out of there. Go to the AFC. It's softer over there.
But yeah, no, yeah, they probably should have gotten a corner. I personally had them getting Greg Newsome. Like, yeah, like, do I think that's what they should have done? Yeah. Would I have probably put this in Alcatraz at that point? Probably. But Zaven Collins, man, like, he's. I mean, I see why they picked him. I really do.
It's hard not to be excited about that fit.
Exactly. Like, it's a very good pick, which is why it's in Truz. But one that is not in Truz by any means is Alex Leatherwood to the Raiders. So, okay, so I get that there have been reports coming out that Alex Leatherwood was not going to make it out of the first round. Okay, no, that's fair. That's fine. Yeah, okay, yeah, he doesn't make it out of the first round. But at pick 17, there were so many more tackles that I would almost put, well, not almost, I do think are better than Alex Leatherwood. I think Cosme is better than Leatherwood. Jenkins, as sure as heck, is better than Leatherwood. I mean, you could even maybe even argue for Eichenberg and Dylan Radins. Like,
It's a very debatable at this spot.
yeah, like
And Darasol, a lot of people at Darasol. I don't personally.
yeah, but like that's five dudes. Three of them that I wouldn't debate is above him. Two that you can debate that's above him, and you pick him at 17.
If you Leatherwood's your man, trade back a few picks, please.
Because I do think that those other guys are going to go before Leatherwood. Yes, maybe not out of the first round, but don't trade out of the first round. That
Trade
would be
back just
dumb
a
at
few.
17. Don't
Just
trade
a
out
few.
of the first round, but like you don't like and it's every year with the Raiders. It's every year that they reach. Every freaking year they reach in the first round. And then sometimes they make up for it like they did this year, but you shouldn't have to make up for your first round pick.
No, you shouldn't. And
So which is
we
why
gotta be
I'm
careful.
personally oh
We gotta be careful to grade this pick on the merit of itself, not include Marig. If Marig and Leatherwood had been swapped, I would have been praising the Raiders.
no,
But
yeah,
we're just
but they didn't do that. But they didn't do that.
no. This was a horrible pick. When I was on the phone with Lee, I think during this pick, and I was like, "Oh, this is the biggest reach of the first round, easy." Now there was something that replaced it later that I did not see coming, but we'll get into that in a few picks. You probably
But
know who it is if you've seen the draft.
but Leatherwood was just I don't get it. I there are so many other people above him that were just better at this spot. So I'm saying Omega Sus.
Okay,
Now, I'm not saying that Leatherwood is going to be bad. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying Leatherwood is going to be bad. But it's Omega Sus to me because it just shows once again that the Raiders are going to overreach in the first round every year as long as Mayock and Gruden are there. It's going to happen every year, so Omega Sus because they will never be able to get first round correctly with those two in that building. Ever.
hope this is the last year of that crap. Hope this is the last year Raiders chance. But and for me, it's not all the way into Omega Sus. It's trending that way. I give them a little bit of forgiveness because they did need O line. If Leatherwood's your man, he's your man. So fine. But it's in sus. It's solidly in sus. But moving on in the next pick, Jalen Phillips. I didn't expect that pick for Miami. I truly thought it was going to be Najee Harris. Would I have been a fan of that pick necessarily? Probably not. This is a better pick for me than Najee Harris. But it's still sus. It's you know what? I'm gonna give it the shrug. That's what I'm gonna give. If his
I
medical stuff is good, great. This is gonna be a great pick. He might be the best edge in this whole class, snagging the best edge in the whole class at 18. Hey, you done did good. But who knows if he even plays more than a season? He could retire again. He could retire again during training camp if he has another concussion. Concussions, they're a threat every time you walk onto the field. Every time you initiate contact, which he's going to be doing as a defensive player, he is risking another concussion. It could happen week 1. It could happen week 2. It could happen 10 years from now. We don't know when it's going to happen. But it's going to happen at some point. If this works out for Miami, great pick. It also is equally possible that it's absolute disaster in this pick. Basically, they threw it away. So, complete shrug. Right there in the middle for me.
no 100%. Sorry, I was looking at how what for the next pick after this one. I was looking at the linebackers that were available. Um, So Jalen Phillips, I really love Jalen Phillips. I'm going to say Truz here just because he arguably is the best pass rusher in this draft. He is so good at getting to the quarterback. He's so good at disrupting the line, but the injuries are very suspicious. Like I get that, But I do trust the Dolphins with evaluating that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm going to say Truz, even though before, I think I already forgot what I said for Jalen Waddle, but even though I didn't like that pick, Jalen Phillips I do really like. And I think is a very solid pick for them. Again, if those injury things aren't that much of a concern to them because they did their own medical eval, which I'm sure they did. But moving on to 19 with the Washington football team getting Jamin Davis. So now I really like Jamin Davis, don't get me wrong. But JOK was here.
Yes, he was. JOK's the man.
and not only am I mad because they picked the position I thought they would, just not the right dude, so it made my mock mess up. I'm not mad that he went to the Browns. I'm not mad about that.
He's a little bitter. He's a little bitter.
I'm not scared or anything. I'm not. Washington, you should have gotten JOK 100%. I think JOK is a better linebacker than Jamin Davis. I like Jamin Davis. I think it's solid, but you passed up on a dude that is going to be amazing. Like I don't see a world in which JOK is not amazing. I think the linebacker class this year was really good, by the way. I do think there was some really solid talent to be had in this linebacker class. But in my opinion, JOK beats Jamin Davis. He just does. He just does. And because of that, I have to give it a shrug. Just because, like, Jamin Davis is good. And if you want to argue he's a better scheme fit, okay, cool. Like, I get it. But I personally just really like JOK and think that would have been the better pick here. But Jamin Davis isn't bad. Like, don't get me wrong. He's not bad. I just like JOK a lot more here.
I also give it the shrug. He already harped on the JOK thing. I get the sus of JOK with the heart issue reports that came out. I get why he fell. He's still, for me, the only linebacker in this class that has the chance to be a Hall of Famer. The only one. I don't know how you pass up on that when you're Washington, especially when you don't need, like, even if the heart is a concern, your defense is fine. Take the opportunity to get that. If JOK and all these other linebackers were off the board, you pick Jamin Davis here, hey, good job. You did fine. It's just a little bit of it's a value issue. So that's why it's a shrug. It's not a bad pick, but it's not an overly good one. But moving on into Kadarius Toney. This, I know it's for the Giants, an NFC East rival. This is one of my favorite picks in the draft. Easily Alpha Truz. They managed to move back. Okay, pick up a next year's first, which, excellent for them. Good job. Only good move Dave Gettleman has ever done. And then you snag TNT. Luckily, they have Danny Dimes throwing it, so I'm not going to have to worry about him catching it overly much in the first year. But whenever they get a quarterback to throw it to TNT, game over for Dallas. It's going to be shootout both ways because we didn't fix our defense in this draft. That was the thing I was saying earlier. Linebacker wasn't even our biggest need, and that's what we picked. I'm very upset, even though this is an Alpha Trust. Good for TNT. He's going to get to have fun with the Giants, I think, once and if Danny Dimes develops and becomes the guy, then great. If not, I think he'll eventually get a guy that's capable of throwing it to him because it's not hard to throw to him. He's a truly, truly special weapon. No, to me, he may have been the number 2 wide receiver in this class. I didn't have him ranked as that, but I've since watched more and more. He may be number 2 to Jamar Chase. No. And they managed to snag him all the way back here at 20 and watch wide receivers go in front of him. So, good job, Giants.
100% Kadarius Toney at 20. Now, I know I saw some Giants fans be kind of a little upset because they wanted something else here at 20. I think some people were climbing for edge rusher, I want to say.
Yeah, and edge was
Um,
a need, but Giants don't really have any glaring needs. The reason they have the issue is because of injuries and because Danny Dimes is not special yet, and their coaching staff frankly sucks. So this will be a good pick for the next generation of whoever's running that team. They'll go,
yeah.
hey guys, thank you for giving us this toy because it's
Hey
gonna be
guys, thank you for giving us Kadarius Toney. You can leave now. So I'm gonna. I don't get me wrong. Well, you know what? Yeah, I'm going Alpha Truz with this one too. And for me, I was going to go just Truz. Like if the Giants were just here at 20 and got Kadarius Toney, I would say just Truz. But because they were able to also pick up a first, I'm gonna say Alpha Truz, just because that deal was so good for them. I think that deal was good for both sides. Both sides got exactly what they wanted out of it, and the Bears didn't have to give up too much to get a possible generational talent, and the Giants were able to move back and still possibly get a generational talent from a wide receiver. Like both of them getting things that they need and top tier dudes. I think it was super solid. Moving on to the Colts with Queedy Pay. I like Queedy Pay. I like him. Um, I mean, obviously they're going to have to try and find a replacement for Houston, because he's definitely going somewhere. He may not come to the Baltimore anymore, depending on what happens. Um, but I, I'm just I'm trying to think if I would have picked Queedy Pay here at 21 when you've got some other dudes on the board at edge. Like it's not bad. I'm gonna have to say shrug. Like I like Queedy Pay. I think he's going to be really good for them, but he is still pretty raw. So like I don't know if he comes in and immediately replaces Justin Houston, and I don't know what their depth at edge looks like, so I don't know if they can afford to not have him immediately come in and replace Justin Houston, especially spending a first round pick on him.
they could have done somebody less developmental for sure. But if they were going to go developmental, why didn't you go Gregory Rousseau? I am fully in the Gregory Rousseau camp. Pays fine. It also gets a shrug for me. It's Colts don't have a ton of needs, frankly. It's we
They
just
don't,
have
which
a
is
big
why I don't want to be sus of this, because
yeah. We just have a big question mark over the roster that they've assembled if it's going to work. And that's what this pick is too. It's just another little question mark to go along the side. If it works, Colts could have a truly special roster. They seem to be very deep, very solid all the way across the board. This is definitely one of those type of picks. Just continue to shore it up. So it's not a bad pick, not a great pick. Maybe it becomes great, maybe it becomes bad. We don't really know. But moving on into Caleb Farley, definition of a boomer bust pick. Definition. Was this the right move for the Titans? They needed to go DBs. They did need to go DBs. I will give it that. Why did you not go Newsom? You epically screwed up with Isaiah Wilson, your first round pick last time. You might Caleb Farley may never even play a snap for them. It could be round 2 of the same thing. And the other guy that they picked later, Rashad Weaver, he's already an issue. The Titans apparently just don't know how to evaluate anything. They pick these guys and they don't even play for them. What are you guys doing over there? You had the chance with Derrick Henry, who may go down as one of the all-time great running backs, to be something just a couple of years ago. And Lee's smiling smugly because he hates the Titans' guts. But how did you mess this up? If Farley works out, great, but that doesn't solve them letting you got one good corner. You let everybody else go. So it still doesn't fix it. At least pick a guy to me, Greg Newsom, that's going to be on the field. So this is sus, pretty solidly sus.
yeah, you can ask Joel. I was smiling ear to ear when they announced this pick. Um, Now I again Caleb Farley. Like I don't wish anything negative for any of these players. Don't don't get it twisted. But I wouldn't be overly upset if he never played a snap for the Tennessee Titans. I would be quite elated actually. Because I really hate them. I really do. I really don't like Tennessee Titans. Titans fans, it's not you, it's the organization. Don't I don't hate the fans automatically. Just the team. They were poorly ran when they were the Houston Oilers, and it looks like they're not as poorly ran, but like,
Same
come on,
category.
come on, come on. Like, how do you pick another boomer bust pick? Like, I get it. I get it. Caleb Farley can be amazing. He was supposed to be the number one corner before these injuries came out. I mean, after looking at some tape, I kind of argue whether he should have ever been the number one corner. But like, he's not bad by any means. I mean, he is pretty freaking fantastic when he's on the field.
He's
But
already got back issues up and down the wazoo. It's you can't have that when you're 20, 22 years old. You can't.
no, it's really rough. And you know what? I almost hope that he doesn't play a snap for the Titans, gets released by them, goes, takes maybe a year or two off, rehabs hardcore, and then comes back into the league and I don't know, goes somewhere else, just anywhere that isn't Pittsburgh Steelers or Tennessee Titans.
Fair
Cool.
enough. Fair enough.
I
But
I don't even care if he comes to the Ravens. I just not those two. But but moving on to the Minnesota Vikings with taking Christian Darasol. Oh, I didn't say what I sorry. Sus. I'm leaning Omega Sus just because it seems like this is a pattern for the Tennessee Titans, but I don't know. I'm just gonna say Sus for now because I won't be overly harsh because I do think that if Caleb Farley plays, it will be a good pick, obviously. But there's a good chance he doesn't. But like I said, moving on to the Minnesota Vikings with Christian Darasol. I like this. It's trust for me. I wasn't super high on Darasol, but he is still good. He is still a good offensive lineman, and getting him at 23 after trading back with the Jets, and the Jets gave you their haul,
it's pretty good.
you could do a lot worse than Christian Darasol.
You might have picked him at 14. I mocked them to pick Darasol at 14. I did. It
Yep.
makes just so much sense. Darasol and the Vikings, and they managed to trade back and still get him and extra picks. Great, great pick. This is Truz. This
Yeah.
is
Easy.
yeah. But going ahead and launching into the next pick, Najee Harris, Omega Sus. I don't know how Lee lucked into having his two least favorite teams have trash drafts, but he managed to do it. Why are the Steelers picking a running back in the first round?
Corvette,
First of all,
Corvette, Corvette, Corvette. Yeah, be dancing on them logos, Juju. Be dancing on them logos.
yeah, while you will be dancing on those logos while your quarterback's in the hospital. I mean,
Dying. Yeah, yeah. While your while uh, Big Ben gets a early retirement.
yeah, he should have retired about 4 or 5 years ago with the injuries he's had. I don't I don't know how this works out well for them. I mean, they're going to be having a backup quarterback handing it to Najee Harris. Yay, great running back, right? You're going to have your backup quarterback handing it to him to run behind a non-existent offensive line. Okay, so a regular running back might get 0 yards. Najee Harris can get you 2. That still doesn't put you on pace for getting a first down. So it just
No, you're not wrong, Joel. This is Omega Sus. 100%. You had one job, Steelers. You had one job to pick an O line in the first round. That was your one job. And you didn't even do it in the second round. You didn't even do it in the second round.
Big Ben retired now. It's not too late. It's not too late. I hate you, but it's not too late.
Like, oh my god. Again, like I said, a theme. I love Najee Harris. Now, I might, me personally, I was kind of debating between Travis Etienne or Najee Harris as my running back one, but like debating means that they're both like there, you know? Like I love Najee Harris. He is a great runner. He is a great player. He played really well for Alabama, but Steelers, you had one job. You literally had one job. You literally had one job.
Also, picking running backs in the first round is just generally gross. So
Yeah,
you got
and
to add that
moving
into the
on,
factor.
we got two in a row this year in the first round with Travis Etienne to the Jaguars. Now, I'm not as sus of this one just because of the connection of Travis Etienne with Trevor Lawrence, obviously, and excuse me, and apparently Trevor Lawrence said that he really wanted Travis Etienne.
He even
Um,
asked for him. They asked him, "What do you want?"
yeah,
That's cool. He's your new guy. Go ahead and give him all the faith in the world. That's
yeah.
that
Like
is totally
I
fine.
now and they didn't now before angry commenters comment, they didn't let him pick everybody. They just said, "Hey, what one dude would you want?" And he said Travis Etienne, and they said, "You know what? We have two firsts this year. We think he'll probably go in the first later to somebody else. Let's just pick him at 25."
We're
Sure,
picking again in a few picks anyways.
sure. And they've got extra picks next year too. Like it's it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. I would still have to give it a shrug because they should have picked Trevon Moehrig,
Yeah.
but I don't think this Travis Etienne pick is that bad. It is definitely nowhere near as bad as a Najee Harris to the Steelers. Nowhere near as bad as that. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say at least the Pittsburgh Steelers needed a running back. The Jaguars didn't need a running back, but having a 1-2 punch, I mean, look at the Ravens. They've got a 1-2 punch right now. I mean,
Hey,
technically they've got a 1-2-3 punch with Lamar Jackson, but
if that's what
um,
you want to do, go after that.
yeah,
By all means. I
yeah.
also give it a shrug. I am a huge fan of James Robinson. James Robinson saved me in fantasy football in the last year too, so I also have to
Yeah.
give him. I owe him
Yeah,
everything.
he did.
But so it just wasn't a need at all for them. It just
No, it wasn't.
maybe you go running back later if you want to get a nice little toy, but you could go Tevin Jenkins here. You could go Marig here. You could even go wide receiver, which I would argue is a bigger need here. It
No,
it
no, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you could go edge here. There's so many other routes they could have gone other than running back when they could have got a running back in that same. All running backs at this point are almost equal. There's Derrick Henry and everybody else. So it certainly is kind of how it is now.
Yeah, but like I would say I would argue like I'm not just going to throw in Ravens players. There are other running backs in the league that I think could compete with. No, I'm not saying
There's
beat.
other good running backs that are better than the other ones, but I'm saying as far as difference makers to a team, you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
replace those
Okay,
other
okay.
running backs
I'll
with.
give you that. I'll give you that. He literally carries the Titans on his back, literally.
You're not going to see Etienne doing that, and he's not
No,
supposed to.
no.
So
No
whatever.
running back should have to be
That
honest.
is facts. But moving on into the Browns, they snagged Greg Newsome somehow here at 26. I can't fricking believe that they were able to do that. Newsome should have gone off the board in the top 20. Newsome is a absolutely stellar corner to me. He's better than Farley, even without Farley's injury issues. This should have been the Titans pick. This should have been the Titans pick. It should have probably been the Cardinals pick. It should have been a few other teams' picks, and it wasn't. And the Browns just were like, okay, because the Browns don't have any needs, frankly. They could have not had a pick in this draft, and I still would have been high on their offseason. And so they managed to snag this at 26. This is Omega, not Omega. I'm sorry, Alpha Truz. I almost
Yeah.
said Omega. Yes, Alpha Truz.
Yeah. Oh my God. Brads. Not the same old Browns. No, they are not. No, they are not. As a Ravens fan, dead ass, I am so much more scared of the Browns than I am of the Steelers or the Bengals. 100%. It is going to be a fight between the Browns and the Ravens to see who is the top of the AFC North next year and possibly for future years after that. Because if the Bengals really don't get their stuff together and if the Steelers don't bounce back from Big Ben,
they're done. They're going to be trash. It's going to be Browns versus Ravens for the foreseeable future.
yeah.
Lamar Jackson versus Baker Mayfield and company.
Yeah. No, and it's going to be it is going to be prime time television. I mean, watch when the second time they faced this past year. They both put up over 40 points. Like it was insane, dude. It was like even as a Texans fan that I mean, like I was the Ravens were always my second team. So obviously I was rooting for the Ravens in that game. And even as like not a full on Ravens fan, I was like having heart palpitations with how much it was going back and forth, dude. It was crazy, and I really do think both teams nailed this draft. Like not knocked it out of the park, but they both
Oh, the
got.
Browns knocked it out of the park. Don't give me that. Browns knocked it out of the park, especially when you consider their second round pick.
No, yeah, with JOK, but I'm saying we'll get more into that when we talk about each of the teams. I'm saying the later rounds, I don't know if they got as much value. Okay. Okay. So I don't want to say knock it out of the park, because knock it out of the park, you have to hit on all phases, okay? But again, we'll get into that later. I really like the Greg Newsome pick. I think it's Truz. It's really good. I don't want to say Alpha Truz just because like they could have gone something different here. They didn't really need corner, but again, like they don't really need anything. So yeah. Um but moving on to the Baltimore Ravens at pick 27. Um so you just excuse me, just real quick. Just
Boy, where's he going? But Rashad Bateman's a good pick. He told me he was going to do something in this slot, and I don't. He refused to tell me what it was because he wanted the synthetic element.
Yeah!
Okay. He loved Rashad Bateman, so this is not surprising that he's hyped. He's back.
So I think it was a very good pick. I think Rashad Bateman at 27 was very, 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 very good. Alpha Truz on this one. I freaking love Rashad Bateman, okay? Rashad Bateman was exactly what the Ravens needed in that passing game. And, by the way, the passing game does have a good chance of being different this year because we got rid of the old fogey David Coley and the Texans happily took David Coley from us. And you know what, old team? You know what? Make my new team better, okay? You know what? Get rid of David Coley. We now have T. Martin as a wide receiver coach who has coached up people of the likes of Juju Smith-Schuster and Randall Cobb from college and plentiful other receivers from college transition into the NFL and become at least wide receiver twos, if not stars in the NFL. Like
Almost all the guys he coaches become a name of some kind.
people know their name. People know their name. And his son, Amari Rogers, I guarantee you people are going to know his name. Like T. Martin's amazing. And then we also have Keith Williams as our passing game coordinator now. I do really feel like our passing game is going to be completely different. And it shows with us getting Rashad Bateman and then later on getting Tylan Wallace. It shows that we've realized that we need a stronger passing game to complement our fantastic running game. It shows, it proves it, and Rashad Bateman he was the perfect person to pick here. He was the perfect wide receiver that we needed. He's the final piece with Tylan Wallace to an extent. I think Tylan Wallace is going to be an amazing contributor as well. Don't get me wrong. But I do think Rashad Bateman is going to be an even bigger contributor. I think he has, not even think, he has wide receiver one potential. 100% flat out has wide receiver one potential. Easy. He bailed out his QB out of so many throws. Bailed him out by either he's running down the field, and then the pass is short, and he stops like basically on a dime after noticing that he passed it short, and just muscles the defender for the ball. Like, stop short, but no, this ball is still mine. One-handed catches, improvising when the play breaks down. Bailed his quarterback out of so many situations, and he's not going to have to bail out Lamar Jackson like he had to bail out his QB back in Minnesota. Like, Lamar Jackson is a QB. He is not a running back. He is a QB. He can throw, and people are going to see that this year. I almost guarantee it, because we actually invested into the passing game now.
It's definitely Alpha Truz. It's one of the more clear needs for a long time for Baltimore was picking a receiver. They did address it somewhat by signing Sammy Watkins, so maybe it wasn't their top need anymore, but this is clear value. He's one of the best players on the board here at a position of need. You go pick Bateman. Bateman ups the overall offense, ups the overall team. He makes them better, and that's what you want from your pick. You want a guy that's going to make your team better, and he does that. So it's very much Alpha Truz. One of the better picks in the first round. But in transitioning from one of the better into very clearly the worst pick of the first round with Peyton Turner, I did a double take when I heard his name called. I was like, there's no way they just picked him. And in my mock draft, I had them reaching on a D lineman because the Saints, they reach on D linemen. I didn't think they would reach all the way down to the third, fourth round talents for their D linemen. Holy crap! How do you pick Peyton Turner here? He's not anywhere close to the best edge. There might be 8 or 10 edges better than him at this spot. Like, how? And edge isn't even the biggest need for the Saints, frankly. Just, what are you guys doing? It's Omega Sus. If there was another category down just for him, he'd be even further below that. I don't even want to know what that's the hell category over here. That's where he goes.
No. I mean, I have to agree with you. Like, Levi Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil, heck, even Christian Barmore. I'm not that high on Barmore, but like,
you could grab Turner you could have grabbed him 3 rounds later than here. If you picked him in the second with your second round picks, he would have been there. I guarantee you he would have been there. You pick him in the second round, I go, ooh, that's a reach, but I don't hate it so much.
Yeah.
But come on, guys. Really?
It was such a reach. And I'm gonna say Omega Sus as well. Like, Saints, I have faith that they can still, do well, but like, this draft it wasn't that great. It wasn't
what you needed to reload. You're headed for the full implosion.
It really wasn't. But moving on to the Green Bay Packers with Eric Stokes. Now, is Eric Stokes the next best corner? No, I don't think he is the next best corner after Greg Newsome. But I will say something. If they're worried about getting beat over the top, that's not going to happen with Eric Stokes. It's just not. He is so fast. He go real fast.
Yeah, we got guy that go fast.
Yeah,
he's Omega Sus for me, but I'll let him talk.
Oh my god. I like Eric Stokes enough. Do I think he's a round 1 talent? No. But this is kind of getting to the end of the round 1, so it kind of starts veering into that round 2 talent, sort of. And I could see Eric Stokes going round 2. Like I said, I don't hate Stokes. I think I actually had him ranked in B for me. I think I had him going in the second round. So like I don't hate Eric Stokes here, but it is definitely weird when you consider who is left on the board. You've got people like I have to look. Melifonwu is still on the board.
Asante Samuel.
Asante Samuel's still on the board.
And you probably shouldn't
Uh,
even been drafting Horner.
Tyson
You should have
Campbell is still
been.
on the board. He went at 33 to the Jaguars. Aaron Robinson.
What they should have been doing was on their hands and knees, plastered before Aaron Rodgers. Tell us who you want. We will pick him. That's what they should have been doing. I don't think Aaron Rodgers asked for Eric Stokes. Do you?
I don't think he asked for them to pick a defensive person with their first pick 10 out of the last 11 times. And the one time they didn't pick defense in the first round, they picked his replacement.
Great job, guys. You got a guy that runs fast, and you're about to not have a quarterback on offense. Because I don't think Jordan Love's even the answer. I wasn't high on him last year. Nothing against Jordan Love. Maybe he is the answer. I think he needs longer if he's going to be anything. And coming into a disaster, which is what he's about to walk into, on an offense where the offensive line took a major step back, and the rest of the skill position talent. Devonta Adams, special. Not real high on Aaron Jones. I think he's going to fall off a cliff soon, as with all running backs as soon as they get their contract. So maybe he's trash next year, or maybe he has 1 or 2 good years left in him. Maybe he does. Great. The rest of the skill position talent, no tight end, no other wide receivers really. Aaron Rodgers makes those guys look good.
Amari Rodgers they did just get Amari.
They did get him, and I do like Amari Rodgers. He's not a wide receiver 1 though.
No, he's not. He's a Randall Cobb 2.0.
So you have a slot receiver who's pretty good, but also still a prospect. I love Amari Rodgers. I think he's gonna be good, but he's a prospect. You got Devonta Adams proven. Okay, the rest of your team overall not that great, and your guy carrying the load just won MVP is, despite the fact that I absolutely hate Aaron Rodgers' guts. I can at least respect his play on the field. Why are you picking a defensive player right after all these other reports came out the same day that he wants to leave? You've been trying appease him. Don't make it worse.
Which by the way, I was still gonna put this on sus, just not Omega sus, because I like Eric Stokes enough. But the Packers are real. They are doing some very weird things.
Here's the everything is fine meme, with the dog and the fire. That's what their organization is doing right. The whole organization is completely on fire. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, we could see a similar thing to what's happening to the Texans right now, with other players just being like, screw you, organization. You screwed our quarterback. Bye. Maybe Devonta Adams is like, why should I be here? DeAndre Hopkins got to leave.
I mean, did you see Devonta Adams' cryptic tweet?
Yeah, I did.
Enjoy what you got enjoy you got while you got it.
That could be about Aaron Rodgers, or that could be about Green Bay with him. If they continue to screw over Aaron Rodgers and don't fix it, Devonta Adams can put his foot down and say, "Hey, trade me too. Trade me to wherever he's going. I don't care."
I almost read that first off as telling the Packers you should enjoy what you got while you got it, because you might be losing a lot.
They most certainly will not be picking at pick 29 next year. We're talking more like pick 9.
Not
if Aaron Rodgers leaves.
I don't see them as being the 9th worst team.
The only team that has a chance of being worse than them in their division is the Lions. And if Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers, I'm not even confident that the Lions are worse than them. Because the Bears and the Vikings.
Can you say that again? I didn't really hear that. What?
Oh, sorry. I'm not confident if Aaron Rodgers leaves that they're better than any team in their own division.
Whoa. I mean, the Lions, but
that's the only one with even a chance, and I'm not confident that they're better than the Lions without Aaron Rodgers on that team. I am not confident in the.
I mean,
they're going to be one of the worst. I think. So, is it LaFleur or is it Rodgers? Because Rodgers has been carrying them for a long time.
No, that's fair. That's fair, but I do. Okay, Joe. Chill with your Packer hate. I know that they've stumped y'all twice in the postseason. Okay.
That's not why I'm doing this. I would be doing this without.
I know. It's not why you're doing this, but do chill just a little bit. The Packers, it isn't that bad. Like, it's not that bad. They are entirely screwing over Aaron Rodgers, and they could lose a lot of pieces, but they're still going to be competitive. It's the Green Bay Packers. They're going to be competitive. Like,
we'll see. We'll see.
I'm not that low on Jordan Love, especially since he did spend a year. And Aaron Rodgers did teach Jordan Love a good bit. Like, he was okay with it. He was just okay with it as long as it was under his terms that he got to leave, not when the Packers wanted him to leave. So I do think Jordan Love learned a good bit from Aaron Rodgers. I do think he will be a serviceable replacement if need be next year. I think he still needs another year or two, don't get me wrong. And it would be fantastic if Aaron Rodgers would be willing to play another 2 years in Green Bay. But it's not looking too good. It's not looking too good. But moving on.
Gregory Rousseau. So after these two last brutal picks, Gregory Rousseau is easily alpha trust for me. I love Gregory Rousseau. I think that he's the most special, and I think he is the best edge. Those other guys are debatable whether the best edge. To me, he's the best edge. He's got that elite Myles Garrett, Chandler Jones rushing ability. He's so freaking young. He may need one season, maybe even two, but at some point the switch is going to turn on. He'll be 21, 22 years old, same age as the other guys that'll be getting drafted around that time, and he's going to come on, and you're going to be like, holy crap, what did the Bills get at pick 30? How did you steal a guy of this caliber at pick 30? And they can afford to wait with their team. The Bills have a good roster. And if he comes on next season, he makes them into possibly the AFC favorite. Very possibly. That's how good this pick is.
No, Gregory Rousseau is amazing. I love this pick. I'm going to still just put it in Truz, though, just because he is raw. So I'm going to put it in Truz just because I do see it taking a year or two for him to really turn on. I think he could make an impact year one, but I think really turn on takes about 2 years for him. Which, I mean, picking at the end of the first is not the end of the world, but I'm not going to say Alpha Truz because for me, you need somebody who's going to be starting day one to be saying Alpha Truz. I don't think Gregory Rousseau starts day one and is like dominant. I think he can start day one and be a good piece and be a contributor. And in about 2 years, he'll be dominant. I have no doubt he'll be dominant at some point. I just think it's going to take some time.
And it very well might take some time, like I just said. However, the chances there that he goes out there and is immediately dominant with his measurables and how good he really is. He could go out there and honestly be a dark horse for Defensive Rookie of the Year with how special he is. He is my dark horse for Defensive Rookie of the Year. We were going to address that at some point, but I'm going to go ahead and say it.
I mean, so again, saying a dark horse doesn't mean I have Alpha Truz in them.
And that's fine.
But I am like, this is one of the ones where I'm on the verge of saying Alpha Truz just because he is so good. And I do think he will be that good at some point. I just think it's going to take a little bit longer, so Truz. But moving on to the other Ravens pick, we didn't trade out of the first round, and I was super shocked when I saw Jason Owe, who, by the way, wants to be called Odafe Owe, but it did say Jason Owe on the screen, which is why I'm saying. But when I saw his name on the screen, I was just all like, wait, what? I was like, Trevon Moehrig, JOK,
Ojulari. There was a lot of other guys. He was like,
I was very confused by this pick. Not gonna lie, I wasn't that high on Owe. Not gonna lie. In our edge video, I was not that high on him. I really didn't like the 0 sacks number. I mean, granted, he's had 7 sacks in his entire career, so that's a little bit better. And last year was a very wonky year. If I'm going to give a pass to Justin Fields, I have to give passes to other people too. And I will give a pass to Owe re-looking at his tape. Again, re-looking at his tape, I think he is a very, very good pick. I think this man is going to be a very good contributor, and he can be a contributor day one with very high upsides, kind of like Gregory Rousseau, in my opinion. And on top of that, look at his tape under the guise of him being a linebacker, not an edge, because that is what the Ravens announced him as, was a linebacker. Probably an outside linebacker who's going to be a stand-up rusher, who's going to get at the quarterback, get at the ball carrier, and I saw Wink Martindale
There it is.
talk about Owe in glowing fashion. And he also kind of, in that presser alone, kind of taught me his view on it and his thinking. And he did list off, I mean, again, I don't remember all the names, but definitely go watch it. It was an awesome presser. Go watch Odafe Owe's presser. Martindale lists off all these names of people who had less sacks in college than Owe and came out into the NFL and were stars.
When you look at him as a linebacker, you're like, wow, okay, he's a good linebacker. I looked at him through the lens of an edge. I made the mistake of that. I slept on him. So when he got picked, I was like, oh, dude, that pick's whack. And then I went and I watched his film, and I was over in the sus range
Yeah. I mean,
at the
I was
time.
in the shrug just because I have faith in the Ravens front office and their coaches to pick well, which is why I was just kind of like, okay, like I've got faith, but like why Owe? But just real quick for me, I will say Truz. It's not Alpha Truz. I would say Truz. I think he has very high upsides, and I think he will be very well or do very well in the Ravens defense. And I think Martindale does bring out the best in Owe. So I think this was also a very good landing spot for him as well in developing into a star, possibly.
Yeah,
Sorry, now you.
but I was over in sus on draft night, and then the next day I woke up, and because Lee's a Ravens fan, I was like, I'm gonna go watch film on him now. So I watched, and it went all the way over into Truz. He as a linebacker, he fits the Ravens so freaking well. He's gonna fill Judon's role beautifully, and honestly, he has the chance to make. Because I was never all that high on Judon. Judon's a fine player. He's not great. He got way overpaid. You let him walk and you replace him with somebody who has a higher ceiling and almost immediately will probably be similar production wise. You can't do better than that. It, great, great pick for your second pick of the second. Like,
No, yeah,
good
and
job, guys. Good job.
no, 100%. Like I again looking at him as a linebacker kind of changes everything for me, and it should change it for a lot of people because I mean you do have to look at them in different lights when you look at them as different positions.
Yes. But moving on into Joe Tryon, last pick of the first round to the Buccaneers. Great, great, great pick for them. It's Truz for me. Joe Tryon's a good player. The Bucks have zero needs, exactly zero needs. They brought back all of their starters. They could pick anything, so they picked the spot where they have the other than quarterback. They picked the spot where they are the oldest, which is at edge with JPP. Joe Tryon's fairly developmental, but can contribute right away, especially rushing interiorly where they were slightly weak. So they can bring Joe Tryon back. He can immediately contribute as an interior rusher. And also, when JPP inevitably either retires or gets kicked to the curb, either next season or the season after, you plug Tryon in and have the same production. It's going to be a seamless transition, and that's what they did throughout this draft. They drafted guys to try to look for a seamless transition as some of the older guys phase out. And I see no reason why they're not going to continue to be a contender. And picking Joe Tryon to contend as the last pick of the first round, there wasn't a whole lot of things they could have done that would have been much better than this for them need wise. So, good pick.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of edges that I might have picked above Joe Tryon. I'm not
I
I'm not the
trust.
highest on Joe Tryon. But I mean definitely like okay, so like when the pick was announced, it was kind of like the same with Owe. I was just kind of like, okay, sure.
I did think it was going to be Aziz, for the record. I did think it was going to be Aziz at this point. But Tryon, it's just like he fits the Buccaneers scheme probably the best of all the
No,
guys that were there.
and I was gonna say after looking at it some more, I am in trust with this. I mean, the Buccaneers have such a good team together right now, and on top of that, like you said, they they have literally no holes. They literally have no holes. Period. So yeah, no, good on you, Buccaneers. You had a decent draft, and you didn't need they didn't need to home run it. They they just had to have a good draft, and they did.
Keep
And I think they got some developmental dudes that they can develop and have the time to develop. That's the other thing with it is having the time to develop it.
Yeah, they're
So
keeping the ship afloat. They got a
e-
guy who can contribute right away, but will develop into something that'll immediately replace who's ahead of him. So
exactly, exactly. So I like I said, I'd have to say Trez on this one, myself, and I think you said Trez as well, right?
yes,
Yeah. So that is all 32 picks and the couple of honorable mentions in the beginning. Tell us what you think in the comments. I mean, this is just our opinions. Like I said earlier, we will be the first ones to say when we are wrong. If we are wrong about any of these dudes, we will be the first ones to say it. But it does not preclude us from having our opinions. We have strong opinions. We don't always agree with each other's strong opinions. Like I'm not that low on Eric Stokes, but you know what? To each their own. You know. Um, but let
we
us
want to
know
hear
in the
you
comment.
guys' opinions. We want to hear you guys' opinions too. That helps us get better, and it gives us. If you give us a good opinion, we will definitely include it in the video for sure.
Oh, 100%. If anybody brings up something that like completely changes my viewpoint or even makes me think of the other viewpoint, I will bring it up 100%. Easy peasy. Tell us on Twitter, direct message us, comment on below in the video, whatever, like whatever you want to do. We will most likely bring it up because yeah, I love seeing different people's opinions. I love talking to people. I love talking to people on Twitter, honestly. I mean, there's been some crazy people, but for the most part, good people on Twitter, and it's been fun talking football. And I would love to talk football with all you guys. And Joel uses it as well sometimes. Sorry, I keep pointing the wrong way. Um, Joe uses it as well sometimes. He's been real busy with school. He will probably be on it a lot more in the summer. Um, but
For
yes,
sure.
so that is our video. That is us talking about the first round with some honorable mentions and a couple of storylines thrown in there when we got to those teams. But that will be us for the video. For this video, we are Tuner Sportscast. I am Lee.
And I'm Joel, and we'll see you next week.
We are peacing out.